Buongiorno, buonasera, ciao a tutti milanisti nel mondo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 53. Is that right, Nico?
Yes, it is.
Um,
53.
yeah, so we're moving along nicely. It's Lab Gorilla from the UK here in Cambridgeshire, and we've got awesome coach Nico all the way from Mexico,
That's right.
Playa del Carmen. I'm
Correct.
going to try to say with your accent.
Paradise.
So we've got a good one today. We've got a few people sick as well, actually, Nico, haven't we? So Shane is out for the count. I was out for the count last week. Apologies for not joining you last week. My voice is just starting to come back now, actually, but it might get tired by the end of the episode. And unfortunately, our Roma guest is also very sick. Get well soon. I think it was one of your friends, right, Nico?
Correct. Yeah, he's actually a part of the Roma club out in LA.
Yeah. So, a bit of a shame. Maybe we'll get them in before the next leg, or something like that, and have that conversation.
That'll be fun
Um,
for sure.
yeah.
Be
But
a
what
good
we're going to
time.
do is we're going to break down that game anyway. That's going to come up this Thursday, where we are the home team. Um, let's start with our usual roundup. How was your week, Nico?
It was pretty good. Busy with work, catching up in a ton of games this week. Both Serie A and EPL games, and some Copa Libertadores games as well.
All right. What games
Yeah.
are they?
That's Fluminense. There's a bunch of Brazilian teams. That's like the
Oh,
equivalent of the Champions League over in Europe.
so you
So a
like
ton,
to watch a bit of a different style of football, right?
yeah,
Um,
different style of football and seeing who's potentially going to be coming to Europe in the next couple of seasons.
Right, right,
Because it
right.
seems,
The talent,
especially
yeah.
the talent's coming through. A lot of talent, both defensively and offensive. A lot of kids, coming through the system.
And I mean, I guess the football is like wildly, wildly different to what we see in
Wildly
Europe.
different and extremely physical. You'll see a ton of fights, a lot of red cards.
Really?
Well, you got to
Oh,
remember, a lot of these kids, they're mostly poor. They come from poor neighborhoods, you know,
hmm.
and they're fighting to make a living, to produce, support their family. So it's everything is they're fighting for every ball, every possession. It's extremely competitive football.
Well, I mean, they generate gems
They do.
like crazy, so that kind of makes sense. I'd say from my side, we've picked up again with Nathan, my co-host on the betting corner, and we've had 2 good weeks. Just a brief update on that. We've passed the £50 mark now for our charities. He has been pretty spot on with his guesses. So against Fiorentina, he guessed that both teams would score and Milan would win. Bang, result comes in. And then he bet yesterday on Milan to win the first half and to win overall. That was his big bet of the day, and that came through. And we both bet on Leao to score, Nico. So that will come through when we discuss the match. But
Good.
yeah, no, it's been really, really good. I don't condone gambling. I still don't condone gambling.
especially for
Despite this,
some former players of ours that
oh,
were on Milan.
absolutely. Oh my God. So actually, on that, you just well reminded. We're going to do just a little bit of a news piece because I know there's been a bit of a chat in. Something's come up since Friday. Um, so there's some news on Inter Milan, Nico. You might have heard of. Tutto Sport published some information on either Friday or Saturday, asking whether Inter Milan's registration in Serie A is legitimate. What we have found out, because a lot of people have been asking me to have a look at Italian media and see if there's any early information on this. Similar story, Nico, to the betting scandal. You've got to take this early information with a pinch of salt. It could be really major if events come through, or it could be much smaller than it is. Once I give you the facts, then you make your own judgment, okay? Uh,
Let's do it.
but so what's happened is, as it turns out, before you register your club for Serie A, you need to be able to guarantee that your club will be able to assure financial continuity throughout the entire season. In other words, you need to guarantee that bills can be paid for the whole campaign. Okay. And what's happened is that there's a body called the Black and White Identity, or also known in Italy as Identità Bianconera. So this is a not-for-profit organization who looks after the interests of Juventus. So keep that in your memory banks. This body investigated the other competitive clubs that are out there in Serie A and saw that there appears to be a discrepancy with Inter Milan's registration. Um, on the 30th of June 2023, Inter Milan wrote that they have a guarantor for their finances, um, and it's provided via letter of patronage from something called Grand Tower SARL, who are based in Luxembourg. However, if you look into Grand Tower, they've never displayed any financial records whatsoever. So, what this Identità, black and white identity, Identità Bianconera, are accusing Inter Milan of is having registered the club for a Serie A campaign without the necessary correct procedures and guarantees. They have written a report and it's gone to the FIGC and they're awaiting an FIGC response on it. Two things I'd say, pinch of salt, Nico. First one, this is not an unbiased body that has done this. This is someone who's representing Juventus. And the second thing I'd say is I've not heard anything from any inter channels to indicate that this has any validity at all. So what do I think of it? I think that Juventus are a club that over the last few years have felt very victimized. They have everyone's gone after them. Remember last season, half board had to be sacked, and they had point deductions. They had to be removed from all European competitions. They had to accept all of that in order to be able to start with a clean slate again because of their plus valenza problems that they did. It looks like out of that, this body has been born to basically say, all right, you're going to do this to us. We're going to look at all of you and report you to the authorities. Do I think Inter Milan would have been so naive as to provide no real guarantees that they can take part in a campaign and not do the paperwork correctly? I doubt that very much, Nico. I mean,
Same
I think,
here.
yeah, I think it's very amateurish. However, the repercussions would be wonderful because it would be an immediate removal from Serie A. I mean, there's no question whatsoever. So let's you know what I said a few weeks ago is let's just be second and be there to pick up any pieces, whatever might come our way, in case anything like this happens again. But I don't know. I think you know what I give this about a 5% chance of it being solid, and that FIGC will really do something again about it. What do you think, Nico?
I'd like to have my thoughts. So these are my thoughts. One, from the looks of things, this looks like Juve fans want revenge from last season what went down with their club. So, and it's possibly, it sounds like to me, I could be totally wrong. It sounds like a bunch of angry, pissed off Juventinis got together on some channel and started throwing some conspiracy theories in a little echo chamber of theirs. Of hey, maybe Inter's doing this, Inter's not doing that. Let's get our revenge on back on Serie A. And this is probably all just made up in their head. They're probably so convinced themselves that this is true that they put this together. They decided to put something formal together and present it to the FICG. So it could be a total conspiracy theory. It could be totally just a bunch of crazy Juventini trying to get their payback.
I mean, I hope one day to have a Juventus fan here, or more than one, because I'd love to have that discussion. They must be the most. They must feel like the most victimized fans in the whole of Serie A. But I mean, it's a good reason for it, Nico, isn't it? They're the ones that are constantly cooking the books, so they've got no one else but themselves to blame, in my opinion, for that.
And on that point, I've actually reached out to a Juventini. I know he's extremely busy, so Giuseppe from Just Juve channel.
Wow, yeah.
We all know he's great. Listen, I know he's had a reputation of going off the rails, but as of late, I've listened to his podcast for about over a week now,
Yeah.
and he's very collective, very well spoken. Um, he doesn't look like he takes things out on other teams or the league. And I've reached out to him personally to try to get him on the show. So if, by a chance, Giuseppe, if you're listening to this podcast afterwards, we would love to have you on the show sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have a discussion with you about your club like we did with Uncle Sharma, which is just it's interesting to get a different point of view.
It is.
So, have we got, I've just heard a noise. Is someone trying to join us? Gio's trying to join us.
Yeah.
Hey, Gio. What's up, Gio?
What's happening, Gio?
No, man, just wanted to stop by, man,
what's
and
going
say
on?
keep up the good work, man. That's it. Keep bringing that fire content, man, and F Pioli, okay? That's all I gotta say.
That's right, Gio.
Now, you should have seen me at the bar yesterday. I was with the Italians yesterday at the bar, John, and they seen me going crazy because he didn't bring in Zeroli. I was going crazy. I was calling all sorts of mother effers and all that, but just wanted to say that keep up the good content, and I'll continue watching, man. I'm about to go eat some fish sarandiao. You know what that is, Nico?
Yeah,
you know
sure
what
do.
that big ass fish. So just wanted to say.
Thanks, Nico. Thanks, Gio. Thank you very much, dude. Yeah. Have a lovely meal, man. Awesome. Love Gio, man. I love it.
Gio from the coast to coast on MWP.
Absolutely. Look him up. Brilliant content. Here, Fabio and Gio are a great pairing. So let's get back to business, which is Milan versus Lecce from yesterday. So let's review the match from my point of view. The lineup was really interesting. I'll tell you the lineups for people who are listening on the podcast. Okay, so hey, Andon, you're right, man. So we had Magnan in goal. We started with Calabria, Gabbia, Tomori, and Theo Hernandez at left back. We had Reindeer and Adley, and we had something that I've been asking for the whole season, which is Pulisic in that middle position, Chucky on the right, and Leao on the left, and Giroud at top. So I've been curious to see what Pulisic could do, and Pioli does it with about 7 games to go in the season.
Why not? Better late than never.
Better late than never, man. And I've got to say, it was a pretty good game. We dominated it. We won. Obviously, we won 3-0. I'm just trying to remember. The first goal was it Pulisic? The first goal from a Chucky assist.
Yes, it was. Chucky took it in. He was pretty aggressive. He took his man on, beat him, cut in from the right side. So Pulisic on top of the box. Nice layoff, and Pulisic took that little half space and cracked it in.
Yeah, it was a beautiful little left foot finish, wasn't it, from Pulisic? And again, it just shows you how good this guy is. Honestly, he's no longer surprising me, but I think he is way better than I first expected when he first joined us. And this did come up in Pioli Corner afterwards. By the way, guys, I published Pioli Corner yesterday, so have a listen if you want. There's about 10 minutes of it, and Pioli talks effusively about Pulisic. Then we had a Giroud goal so the Pulisic goal came on the 6th minute. Giroud's goal came on the 20th minute, and the assist was from Adley. I think it was a corner, right? Am I right? And Giroud came in with a header.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what Giroud's been doing all season.
Yeah, remarkable header. So let's going to put the overlay here. Here we go. So you can see the comments as we're talking.
Oh, Fabio's in here too. Fabio.
Yeah, Fabio, what's up, man?
What's going on, Fabio?
Let's take off the logo so you can see the comments. Fantastic. So then we had a red card around a half time, and that was Kristovic, which is their striker. He went in with his leg, and he basically hit Chucky right in the rib cage, on the side of the rib cage, and he went straight down. That was quite bad. It was like, I thought it was a straight red card. There was no complaints. It was interesting looking at the stands, because I don't know if it was the Lecce president was like doing the the thing. He was doing that, and I thought, really, seriously, mate. But that was the first half, 2-0. I was very happy because we were going to be collecting our money for charity. Then in the second half, what we needed, the big thing that we needed was Rafa Leao to score. And actually, Nico, this is a point of discussion I want to have with you. There was an attack that was coming down the right-hand side, and Theo Hernandez tracked down the player. Player went down. In slow motion, Theo Hernandez, as he passed the player, hit him on the head with his knee. But then Theo Hernandez picked up the ball and initiated the move, right?
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, no, the referee had not blown the whistle.
Yeah,
and so he got the ball to Adli, who put in a really nice pass. And there's no question, the pass was very nice, everyone. There's a reason for why I'm saying this. It was a very lovely pass to Rafael Leao, very cool finish. And again, we were very happy because both Nathan and I had money on Leao to score in the game. So bang, bang, bang. The question is, I guess there, Nico, was that pass the same as Rui Costa's level pass against Real Madrid?
It was a great pass. Ali has good vision, but to put into that context, it's a different. It was under different circumstances, right? That was under, I think, versus Real Madrid.
Yeah.
A little bit more pressure. So those things matter. But listen, great pass either way. I'm not, not taking anything away from Adley in that pass. Listen, on that kind of pass, he took maybe 3 or 4 defenders out of that play. So quick thing, that kind of pass. There's actually another term for that pass. So there's the German football. They came up with this term, this new stat. It's not widely used. It's called packing. So packing tracks how many, when you make a pass, how many players do you take out defensively?
Oh, okay.
And they'll use that to as another stat, which is, we're all about stats nowadays, right? We break down stats. Data analysis is a big thing in football nowadays. So just another thing that some data analysis will track on players. And I think in Germany they use that. It's called packing. So it's something that, if anybody's out there, you're interested, look it up. It's actually pretty interesting stuff.
So the game went that way, finished 3-0. It was a solid win. Terracciano did come on with about 7 minutes to go for Theo Hernandez. Benacer came on for Reindeer. Everybody was losing their marbles because we were basically 3-0 up at 57 minutes and thought this is the chance to see some youth. And unfortunately, we saw Kier come on for Gabbia. Musa came on for Pulisic. Jovic came on for Giroud. And then Benacer came on for Reindeers and Terracciano for Hernandez. So, yeah, I understand why a lot of fans are a bit upset with that, saying this is our opportunity to do something and get these young kids more time. But it's just, we know it's just not going to happen. I would say the view from Italian media is absolutely supportive of Pioli. Big journalists like Pellegatti were giving Pioli full backing now that he should stay for another season, no question whatsoever. They were saying that in his post-game interview that he has resolved all of the defensive problems. Nico, you might laugh at hearing that, but they said that he has found a solution for it. And Pioli, instead of saying, no, it's still a work in progress, he said, well, it's really important for us to work together. The defense has come because the defensive solutions are better now because people are sacrificing themselves more and we're not as affected by injuries as before. By the way, prior to this game, what did we hear? That Chow's got plantar fasciitis, and now the next game that we're going to be looking at, which is the big one, the Europa League game on Thursday night, we've got no Tomori. It was news to me until I watched a post-game interview, and it was mentioned that against Stade Rennes, Tomori picked up a yellow card, and so that's made this game a suspension for him. Meaning then, if you look at the defense, who do we put in there? Is it going to be Kier and Gabbia?
Or Kier and Chow?
If Chow's plantar fasciitis is okay, that's usually quite painful and the inflammation can take a while, right, Nico? So, no, It's interesting thing to be hearing people being so effusive about Pioli. I guess he's in second place. He's solidified the position, but for him to say that our objective this year of finishing second and making the final of the Europa League would be success. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I would call that success.
Well,
Especially, you have to qualify what that second place is, in my opinion, Nico.
I'll give you my thoughts on the game. First off, listen, because I know some people, I've been pretty hard on Pioli this season. I'll start off by saying, yes, was it a good game offensively? Excellent game. Seeing the lineup that we had with Pulisic in Loftus-Cheek in position and Chucky in there and everybody else, a lot of good movements, really well. And defensively, what Pulisic brings that Loftus-Cheek doesn't do, he does a good job backtracking. He does recover really well. He does win a lot of balls in the midfield. So that's an advantage over Loftus-Cheeks. So going forward, I'd like to see more Pulisic in that position. But let's go with the bad. Not bad, but some of the criticism that I saw yesterday. So 2 minutes into the game, Lecce had a really good shot on goal. All right? 2 minutes in, early on. I believe there were 3 players on the top of the box, and nobody was picking up the man. And I forgot who had taken a shot on goal early on the game from Lecce. Didn't take his name down. But he had all this open space on the top of the 18-yard box. If it was anybody else, a more high-quality player, that could have been a goal or off the post, who knows. And the game would have been completely different. Our midfield was okay. I mean, Adley as our CDM is not the answer going forward. Obviously, we've been through this. I'd like to see us, sign somebody like Fofana in the offseason, somebody with some serious teeth to kind of bring some toughness to the midfield. And then, other than that was the first half. We had some really good moments, but overall defensively, there's still a lot of holes in the game. But like I said, yes, we did win. We're in second place. And we have that big game against Roma coming up. We'll be getting into that shortly.
Yeah. So that point you were talking about there, Nico. So just looking at the live ticker for the match again, on the 29th minute when we were 2-0 up, Pioli did mention it. They had a chance of getting back into the game. And it was Ramadani that moved forward into space and then picked his head up and crossed a ball in. And basically, I don't know where our centre-backs were, but the guy was only being...
Adley. That was Adley, correct?
Yeah. It was like, why was Adley in the box tracking back against the striker? So Gonzalez, basically had a free header and hit the crossbar.
Well,
so
on that play, John, just Adley, if you notice that play, he misread it. He didn't judge that ball correctly. He took an early jump. He clearly missed it. It's just inexperienced. He's not the type of play. If it was a center back like Gabbia, say, or Tamari, they already know, muscle memory to put a body on the player instead of trying to jump on a ball that you clearly can't get to, unless you're 6'5", which Adley's clearly is not that tall. So that's not. Yeah, it's not on him. It's just the positioning of the team. And
where were the defenders though, Nico? It was right in the middle of the box. Where did they go to? I don't honestly. I'd like to do what we did a few weeks ago, Nico, with you, and take a still of that. We might do that maybe in a later episode, right? Take a still of that situation, because I would like to know where the hell Gabbia was and Tomori were, because I was like, why is Adley the person picking this guy up? Because it's a cross coming into the middle of the box and there's no one there. It's not like it was a sweeping move.
And clearly, the way Pioli plays his center backs, and most teams do, you always have one center back pushing up a little higher up the pitch. In this case, it would be Tamari, I would think, because he's got more speed than Gabbia. And that clearly tells me Gabbia should have been the one in the back, covering Tomori. But like I said, we need to take a little screenshot of that play and see exactly what happened there.
Yeah,
but because within the first half, Lecce had 2 quality opportunities to score on us. So imagine if they would have scored or that was a different opponent, the game would have been completely different. We would have been down, or down 1-0.
Okay, so that is a great segue, Nico, talking about different opponent. Pioli mentioned after the game, listen, we've broken the hoodoo of 5 straight wins in Serie A. We've now done it. We've got straight seven wins in all competitions. But he said the next 4 to 6 weeks are going to be brutal for us. We've got Sassuolo, we've got Roma, we've got Inter, we've got Juve, we've got a double header with Roma. So he said, let's judge at the end of the season, because I know that you guys will change your minds very quickly. This is what he said. It's in his head. We're definitely in his head. But he knows that we're going to have to go up several levels in the coming weeks. One, to take a lead against Roma. That's what we want to do now. And it would have been interesting because Roma have undergone a massive transformation. So, Nico, you have control of the graphics, right? So
I do. So let's pull this up. So we're playing Roma. Obviously, everybody knows Roma does have a new manager. De Rossi took over, I think, January or February, either at the end of January or the beginning of February. He took over from Mourinho. So let's take a look at this. Let's change the view. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. That's a little bit better. So this is from Goal. Let's clear this up a little bit. Maybe it'll be a little better for our fans. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Boom. So Roma, let's just read this article for all our fans, listeners listening on Spotify as well and Apple Podcasts. This is an article from Goal. What happened? Roma came back from behind twice to secure points against Fiorentina in the Serie A clash on Sunday. The Giallorossi started the match in a 3-5-2 formation, but after conceding a goal in the first half, manager De Rossi decided to switch to a more attacking 4-3-3, more of a traditional formation, which according to him helped the club avoid defeat. The Italian further claimed that his players have completely rejected Mourinho's defensive tactics.
Wow. That's something to say, isn't it?
It is. So obviously, if we look at the stats for the season, we're on par. In terms of goals conceded, Roma is tied with us, right? They're right there with us.
So Roma have 35 goals against, and we have 34, Nico.
Correct. But take that off. That's not completely accurate, being that Mourinho, a lot of that's on Mourinho as well. And looking at this article, it's clear that at some point, the Roma players stopped listening to Mourinho's. They were fed up with him and his tactics. And so that's being said, it's clear that under De Rossi, they enjoy playing football now. And since then, I believe in the last few games, and I'll get into those graphs now. Let's get to the next slide here. So this is from their last game, before yesterday. Let's see if we can blow this up here for our. There we go. Oh, maybe this. No. How's that look, John? Yep. Boom.
Okay. I'll remove the overlay to make it bigger. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. So over here, they're playing with a 4-back now. So since that game, De Rossi is favoring a 4-3-3, being that's what's been really successful for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually took some graphs. So there's a tactical on X. His name is Rohit. He did a really good job breaking down one of their last games. I guess this was under Mourinho, just to see where the differences between what De Rossi's doing and Mourinho does. So being this is one of their last, I think against Bayern Leverkusen, I think this is the Europa game. Usually Mourinho liked to sit back and invite pressure. However, but De Rossi he likes to push his player higher up the pitch, and he plays a man-oriented pressing scheme. So completely different tactics that we're playing that under De Rossi. Roma were not aggressive in their pressing and would only be. So obviously, this clearly states that under De Rossi, they're playing much more aggressive defensively. They're playing more of a pressing system. They're not sitting back and inviting pressure. So, Pioli's got his work cut out for him in the first leg. This is not the same Roma team that we faced, especially defensive.
Yeah.
And let's go to the next graph. As we can see here, so let's actually cover this one right here. So the one weakness that Roma does have, similar to what we do in Milan, they don't clearly have a true CDM. And this indicates right here. So there's a play against Bayern Leverkusen that they're countering against Roma, and there's a huge gap in the midfield. There's a ton of space between the midfield and the back line. That's something that we've had issues with as well. So this is something that I'm sure Pioli. Well, let me backtrack. Being that I've coached soccer, I've played the game, and I've coached for a couple of seasons. I don't like to shit on or think I know better than the coaches do. Professional coaches have to say about the game and how they set up their tactics, and judge on that. So clearly, I know Pioli and his staff have looked at the same graphs. They've been analyzing Roma's games much more than I have. Any tactical on X or social media has. So I'm guaranteed that they're noticing that Roma has this weakness defensively. So that being said, I'm sure Pioli has a plan for that to exploit that during our first leg against Roma.
Mm-hmm. So, Nico, I pulled up the lineup that Roma put out yesterday. So one of the things I wanted to ask this Roma fan is that we think that we've got it bad in terms of the fixtures. Our biggest issue in my mind is, yes, getting over Roma. I feel quite confident about that. But I also have this issue that I don't want Inter to win the Serie A title in the derby, because that would be so painful, I think, for that to happen. And so I think we've got to manage our games accordingly. But it's not as bad as Roma. Last night, who did Roma play? They played the Rome derby against Lazio. And yes, they won 1-0. But that meant that they had to put their players out there, the full-strength squad, and they had to go, at 1,000,000%, Nico. They only won the game 1-0. There was as everyone predicted, there's a bunch of yellow cards. But can I read you the starting lineup?
Sure, go ahead. Let's do it.
Yeah. So in goal, they've got a goalkeeper called Zvilar. I've not ever heard of him, to be honest.
Neither.
At right back, Celik. Centre backs are Llorente and Mancini. Left back, Angelino. Then, so that's a 4 at the back. Then they've got 3 in front, which is Cristante on the left side, in the middle Paredes, on the right Pellegrini. Then basically this looks like a Christmas tree formation. The next one is 2, which is Osharawi and Dybala, and then the one at top is Lukaku. You can see this is a 4-3-3 or a 4-3-2-1.
It depends how you look at it, yeah.
Yeah, depending how you look at it. But I mean, if you look on paper, you'd have to say the attacking phase looks really nice. The defensive phase looks a bit suspect. Looks like something that we might be able to get to. And the big question will be, how Dybala is. He is their metronome. He is their, all the pundits here that in the UK that focus on European football for newspapers like The Guardian, they look to Dybala as being the indicator as to how much of a chance they will have. If he's fit and he wants it, he could cause us a lot of trouble, because he can, as you know, there is a pocket in front of our back 4, Nico. There is going to be a lot of space in front of our back 4. And
just like Roma.
Exactly. So looking at, you're right. I looked at their record in Serie A. It's something we can do, although we're playing in the Europa League. These are domestic competitors, so we can have a look at the domestic record. Goals scored, they have 56. We have 60. Goals against, they have 35. We have 34. The big difference in that is that, as you said, early this year, De Rossi came in. So these are records that include Mourinho's team that was basically losing left, right, and center and playing very, very defensive. But since then, they've gone on a bit of a rampage and they've been scoring goals quite heavily. So what do you think the match will be like? Because I think it will be quite an open game, Nico, because I don't think either team is set up to defend, not anymore anyway, especially with the Rossi there. And I think even though we're at home, I think both teams will score, but I think we will win the game. So my guess is going to be 3-1. What's your opinion on that?
It's good. Well, I look at it this way. It all depends on which Lukaku is gonna show up for that game and Dybala. If they both show up to ball out to play at their top form, for me, Dybala may be a problem for us, depending who our center backs are.
There's no Tomori.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a huge miss because Tomori's shown he can defend the most, fearsome forwards out there. He did it against Osimhen in the past, against Napoli in the Champions League last season. He held them in check. But if, say, we have Kjaer and Chao, just throw it out there. We know Chao has had issues all season, mental lapses, and making really poor mistakes, tackles.
Yeah.
Kjaer, as in his last leg as a defensive player, yes, he's experienced, but is he the same Kjaer as last season? No, he's not. So Dybala could possibly have a big game. That being said, it might be 3-2. There's going to be a lot of goals scored. It's going to look like a shootout. However, I like to add some additional stats to what you put out. So there's a English website called Opta. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. Great stuff. They put out some really good stats. So for expected goals against, let's break down our play. And I've done this before for our club. So to compare Milan in domestic league, not in Europa. Open play, we faced 288 shots. The percentage goals expected are at 22.12, and we've given up 23 goals in open play, which is a ton. That's almost just really bad for a Serie A team, not the greatest. I know offensively we've been doing great. Defensively, that's a different story. At set plays, we've given up 109 set plays. So a ton of fouls, right? A lot of them on our just poor decisions in the back.
Hey, Nico, question.
Yes.
When you turn your head to the side, your mic volume goes down. So is your mic located to one side?
Hold on. How about now?
Yes.
How's that? Okay. Apologies, everybody. So set plays, we've given up 109 shots on set plays. Our set plays expected goals is 8.41. And just to put that in comparison, Inter in first place. Their set plays goals expected is 4.97, almost double what they've given up. And we've given up 4 goals from set plays. Now let's look at Roma. Roma's numbers this season domestically. Open play, shots 267, a lot less. So expected goals in open plays 19.74, and they've given up 23. So the goals are right on par. They've given up the exact number of goals on open play. And in terms of set plays, this is a big difference, huge. Set plays, they've only given up 85 set plays shots. So they're not giving up a ton of fouls in the defensive third. Set play goals expected 7.26. So a little slightly lower than Milan. And set play goals are giving up a ton. They've given up 7. So something to think about as well. This is something that, Pioli, I'm sure, like I said, is probably looked at as well. And this is something we could probably exploit. So on paper, defensively, even though we have better athletes, I guess, for the most part, obviously with Tamar being out, that's a little bit questionable. But we just stated before, John, this is going to be a high scoring affair. I doubt there's going to be any clean sheets in these two legs.
Yeah. So let me just read out to you on FootMob, the injured and suspended players, okay, for both teams. So Tomori suspended. Pobega is out until late April, hamstring. Kalulu knee injury, early May is his expected return date. And Chow, he's the one that's touch and go, Nico, because it's plantar fasciitis. On Roma's side, Ndika is suspended, so he can't even play the first leg. Then they've got a player out called Asmoon, who's not coming back until a hamstring injury, not coming back until April 2024, late. And then Awar, which is quite an important player of theirs, he's got a viral infection, which is going to take a few weeks to recover from. So Awar, I would have said he's probably one that might be a starter for them because he's quite a talented player. So I don't know. I think if it was a Mourinho team, Nico, I'd be quite comfortable and confident to tell you that we would win the game. Over two legs, we would overpower them because they would sit back and play their usual style. We would know what's coming. Because it's a De Rossi team, and having watched De Rossi as a player and for both Italy and for Roma for years, if they are playing anywhere near the tempo that he wants, and as he was, we are in for a dogfight, Nico. And so it's going to be, a goal here and there, I think, over the two games. But it could be quite a fun.
For casual fans just tuning in, and it's going to be a great, two legs. I think the edge that we have, and let's take the defense away from it for a minute. Let's not focus on that. The edge that we have is Leao, Pulisic. Those are the X factors. If we get the Leao that we've seen in the last few games, we could just simply take over like an Amape, when he wants to. Yeah. That's going to be the X factor. Even if the game is, say tied late in the game, Leao has the ability to change the game on a dime. And Pulisic too. And Pulisic. If we go into that matchup playing the formation that we saw yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Quite nice.
And it's going to be nice. Offensively, we're going to see a lot of dynamic plays from Milan.
What's your opinion, Nico, on Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming back though? Because he was missing yesterday because of a suspension, right? So he was asked purely after the game saying, you now have an interesting situation because Pulisic has suddenly demonstrated that he's very good in that role. And he not only helped in the attack, he helped in the defense. And you pointed this out as well, Nico. Would you bring back Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic moves off to the right and you bench Chucky?
No, and I'll tell you why. Offensively, they're about the same. Loftus-Cheek has scored a lot of important goals for the season, a ton, especially headers. He's a monster. When he wants to, he's a freight train coming down that midfield. But big difference is Pulisic plays better defense. He'll actually recover and help out our defense. Loftus-Cheek does not do that at all.
So in your preferred lineup, you would bench Ruben Loftus-Cheek?
Hell yeah. Listen, John.
Yeah.
You're smart enough to realize this, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. But for some fans out that just like to focus on our offensive numbers, soccer, football, couch, or whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the world you're from, you have two phases of the game. You got to play offensive and defense. It's just not scoring goals. Unless you plan on scoring 10 goals a game, you have to play a little bit of defense. And Pulisic offers he offers a defensive help more than Loftus-Cheek ever does. And that's just because they're different players mentally.
Yeah, I'm excited that Chucky is really showing in the last few games what he's made to do, what he was brought in to do. He runs at pace. down that wing, and he loves it. He absolutely loves taking people on. That excites me. Now, Pulisic on number 10, it's something I've wanted to see since the start of the season. He demonstrated yesterday. It's because he has that footballing IQ, Nico. He sees the pass, but he also understands where he needs to be. So he's got that footballing IQ. You know what I would do is I would actually potentially consider taking Tijani Reinders out and putting Ruben Loftus-Cheek in his place. That's what I would consider doing. But that's mine. I'll tell you what I think Pioli will do, Nico, because I think you can guess it as well.
I'm listening.
I think the two central defenders are going to be Gabbia and Chow if the fasciitis gets better. Obviously, if not, that is going to be Gabbia and Kier. Either one going up against Lukaku is going to be a problem. But as long as we've got
Correct.
Theo, a left back, keeping that side really busy, I think we'll be okay. And on the right wing, I think he's going to go with Calabria. I think I probably would prefer Florenzi on the right side. But I think in midfield, he's going to go with, now hear me out, I think he's going to go Benacer. I think he's going to go Reindeer. I think he's going to go Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And I think Pulisic goes back to the right, Leao on the left, Giroud in the middle. That's the safe play that Pioli likes to revert back to. And then we see how that works out. I just feel it that it's going to be a high-scoring game because it means that neither side is set up. Like, we're going to have no pace at defense, Nico.
On both ends, yeah, both teams.
Yeah.
And I predict we'll get past those two legs. We'll beat Roma.
Yeah.
I think just because I said our quality of players overall. But it'll be interesting. It'll be fun to see who will be the next team matched up after that. Because if we play say we play Liverpool, for a lot of fans, it'll be something else, being that we played them in Champions League in the past. We have that history with them, right? On the biggest stage of European football. I want to see how our style of play matches up against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, I've asked to see Liverpool from day one. I wanted us to play against them because it's why I became a fan. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's why I became a fan of this club. We face the biggest clubs. Liverpool right now, attacking-wise, I mean, you and I were discussing this prior to this starting. We both watched a Man United-Liverpool game. And Man United could have a corner, and within 10 seconds, Liverpool were taking a shot on goal. It was, the counterattacks were brutal. It'll be interesting to see how we sustain that.
Well, with Salah, Diaz, Nunez, and they have three up top, with some serious pace. Yeah. And you have really good midfielders. You have Endo has been playing; it's fantastic for Liverpool. It'll be a fun match if we get past Roma, and I think we will. And
I mean, in Pioli's words, Nico, the focus should be on the next game and nothing else. So let's respect Roma.
Of course,
absolutely. So we've pretty much got a full strength team except for Tomori at centre back. That's pretty much as strong a squad as we can put out, really. The other injured players, I'm not really counting massively on. Okay, Kalulu maybe Kalulu is one that would have been maybe on the right side, maybe a centre back with Tomori, because they both provide a lot of pace. But it is what it is. He's just picked up another bad injury.
But I don't think he fully recovered from the first time.
I mean, that was the rumor, dude. That was the rumor. Yeah. So Thursday night, I'm going to be on a plane coming back from Italy, so I'm not going to see it. I'm totally gutted. So I really hope that we win it. Hope I touch down back in the UK and we've scored several goals and we've got a lead to take with us into the second leg at the what did they call their stadium, dude?
The
Stadio Olimpico,
yeah,
right?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's see if we can do that. I think we can. I really genuinely think we can. I think, yeah, as I said, the Rossi coming in is the thing that's put doubt in my head. But I don't think they can cope with us. I think we've got too many different players that are scoring goals.
If it was a one-game match, maybe, but over 2 legs, it's going to be really tough to contain Leao and Pulisic and the other players up top.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, ultimately, Pioli's putting a lot of weight on it. Did you notice the different thing as well this week is that he didn't rest players? Like before Champions League fixtures, he would often rest players. He didn't do it this time. He went all out because he understands that second place in Serie A needs to be solidified.
It is locked up. I mean, who's going to catch up to us? Everybody else is dropping flies. When Bologna needs to win, they drop a game. Same thing with the other teams. So I think we're comfortable in second place. That's it, lockdown. So with that being said, going back to yesterday's game, the one thing I would have liked to see when those substitutions came in, when Tereshano came in, and I would have liked this because Simic was on the bench. I would have liked to see Simic come on, give the kids some quality minutes. All right. Also Zaroli as well. Give those kids a chance to shine a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, when you get signed to a club and you go through their youth system, their academy, the ultimate goal as a player is to make the first team of that club and to get minutes and to show the world, show your team, coaches, that you can play. And we said it before, Pioli doesn't give them a chance. And yesterday was a perfect example. You're up 3-0, 2-0. You got second place locked up. Why not give those kids a chance to play? What are they going to do?
Yeah, no, I think in the post game, Pioli said that he managed to give a run out to all the players that are going to be involved in the Europa League fixture, I think. And Simic would even be listed on that. I think that's what it might come down to. But I'm not defending him. I'm just telling you what he said. Right. So we think Roma are going to win. I think we think Milan's going to win comfortably.
For sure.
We hope.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be goals on both sides.
Correct. It's going to be a goal fest.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll probably, before the game on Thursday, I'll have a quick chat with Nathan and put a few bets on just to try and make some more money out of that.
I'll be celebrating my birthday that day. So I'll be out enjoying, I'm taking off from work on Thursday, heading over to this nice little sports bar by the beach and watching the game there.
Well, as we say in Italy, tantissimi auguri for Thursday. That's what we'll say to you. And next time we speak, you'll be a year younger. All right.
That's right. Oh, before I'd like to add one thing for our listeners out there. If you haven't been clued in, living under a rock, I do have my own line of shows, part of Milanisti 360, part of Defensive Dynamo. One being Fugly Defensive X, with a spinoff of similar to what Jan has at Milan Weekly Podcast with Busted Calcio Tweets. And it's actually making its second showing tomorrow or sometime this week once I get it up and running. Let me pop up. There it is. Fugly Defensive X. That's going to be coming up in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for that. There we go. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And also, in addition to that, there'll be a couple other shows. There's a show that'll be dedicated to highlighting the greatest defensive players that ever played the game, players like Maldini, Baresi. However, in the season 1, I'll be focusing on the first episode of that show will be focused on the great Franz Beckenbauer. And the second episode will be focused around a Chilean defender called Elias Figueroa. If anybody's not really familiar with him, he played for the Chilean team, played for a few South American teams back in the 50s and 60s, won Defender of the Year like 3 or 4 times. However, he never got the love as the European counterparts, being he never played in Europe. which is unfortunate. But yeah, so some exciting content coming up on Milanisti 360 on the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and Nico, now that you said that, we're not going to give away any names, but we're hoping to have a guest coming in potentially to host a show, right?
Correct. I'm excited about that. It's going to be.
We're all really excited about that. So
yes.
Keep watching this space, guys. We'll announce it the moment it's confirmed. We'll actually put the thumbnail up so that we can, have it up and running. And let's try and get your friend, your Roma friend, before the return leg to have a conversation with us. It'll be more funny if we are well ahead, because we can have a bit of a joke, a bit of banter together as well.
He's got a good sense of humor. He's actually a pretty level-headed Romanista. So
rare.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds fantastic. Any last words, Nico?
Just to drop a little bit of a hint for our listeners out there, this special guest that we'll be bringing on does have a very popular Milan podcast on a popular streaming app. That's all I have to say about that. I don't want to give away too much.
Let's leave it at that. Make it a surprise for the viewers. And as I said, the moment it's confirmed that everyone's available, what we'll do is we'll put it on the thumbnail and post it on our website. So look out for it, guys. Post it on YouTube, I should say, and other channels. For me, any last things? Well, let's hope that that Juventus investigation goes through. Because the team that stands to benefit from Inter getting chucked out is actually us.
Correct. Imagine that. Imagine we end up winning the Scudetto because of that investigation.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Another miracle Scudetto.
That would be another miracle Scudetto. I mean, obviously, the other news is more serious, which is that Inter Milan appears to have, Zhang appears to have secured extension of that loan with Oaktree. So it looks like, on that sense, at least, things are moving forward. So on a serious note, my concern is that it means that the next season is going to be very difficult again if these guys are not punished. And
Inzaghi's returning as well, and most of the players.
Yeah.
Plus Taremi as well. I think they've secured that signing as well.
Yeah. I mean, the rumor for us is that the big signing that we're going to get is Xerxes. The rumor is that Magnan might be asking for the same money as Leao, which is about 7 million a year, which I don't know, for a keeper of that quality, to me is okay. But if someone comes in with a big offer, I think Forlani has openly said that we are going to be open to offers. The other big thing about Milan news is that Adrian Comolli from Toulouse is potentially coming in as part of maybe the CEO that's coming in to replace Forlani this summer. So again, things to keep an eye out for. We'll try and update you on the news as and when we get more information. All right, guys. So with that, thanks, Nico. That was a great talk today.
You too, John.
Enjoy the podcast. Have a lovely day and enjoy your birthday, because I'm not going to see you before then. So have a lovely time, man. And hopefully let's win for you. All right.
Let's go. Forza Milan. All right, John, take it easy. All right.
Ciao.